If you guys have been trying to follow me this morning, I've had a lot of technical issues and I apologize. Everything should be working now. Kevin, if you're listening again, if you don't mind just dropping in the chat that you can see and hear me, that would be fantastic. Uh, I came on earlier because I wanted to chat with y'all about, coming out of the holidays. Real quick, I'm gonna jump over on Facebook so I can monitor the chat. Thank you for sticking with me. Uh, if you don't mind, if you can just drop in the chat whether you can hear me, that would be fantastic. Just so I know that I'm not just talking to dead air here. My name is Russ. I am the host of Trauma Talks Live and Coffee Talks Live. Trauma Talks Live is a podcast where we discuss trauma, the effects on the nervous system, and how to leverage that information to be the best possible version of yourself. Coffee Talks is more of a unscheduled video blog, I would call it. Usually in the morning when I'm enjoying my morning coffee, we'll jump on and we'll chat with you guys about some positive psychology topics, practical tools, things of that nature. So, Trauma Talks Live dives more into trauma itself, what trauma is, and why you feel the way you feel. Where Coffee Talks is more of an opportunity for me to teach you guys ways to cope with those things, some coping strategies, some breathing techniques, some practical tools to help yourself feel better. And then to understand the positive side of psychology, why some of these things help, why some of these things help heal, and why some things don't. Right. So we try to keep it really positive. We try to keep it upbeat, and I try to keep it educational. So it should be short form, 5-10 minutes max. Where you can just listen real quick. If you see a topic in the lineup that you like, I try to put topics in the title. I don't think I have one in here right now. Let me double check. I do not. So this one is the holidays, however spelled correctly. All right, so we're gonna update that. Um, so if you see a title that interests you or something you want to learn more about, just click on them. They're quick, 5-10 minutes long. You can learn some. I keep getting alerts coming up on my phone. I'm hoping that you guys can hear all this. I just did a 10-minute stream where there was no audio the whole time. So, okay, holidays. The holidays. The holidays are obviously meant to be very festive. It's meant to connect with people that you don't always see. It's meant to celebrate the end of the year. It's meant to celebrate for those who are Christian the birth of their Christ. It's meant for Jewish people to celebrate. I mean, there's so many different cultures. There's so many different ways to celebrate over the holidays, which is why we say Happy Holidays. Um, but And for a lot of people, that is not the case. For a lot of people, the holidays can be incredibly stressful. For a lot of people, the holidays means having to spend time with that family member that makes you feel very uncomfortable or was very abusive, right? Or you just don't like being around. You don't connect well with, but you're forced to be around them. The holidays are first for a lot of people are a time when you're reminded of how you're doing financially. You can't afford to buy the gifts or the fancy foods or go out on vacations or do the things that other people were doing, and it can be a reminder of that, and that can be stressful. If you're coming out of a toxic relationship and you've ended it recently, the holidays can feel incredibly lonely, really, really lonely. Um, this past Christmas for me was phenomenal. I had such a great time. It was very relaxing and very calm. I didn't spend much time with family, actually. I spent most of the time with Allie and Allie's family. Most of my family's moved out of state. My mother and stepfather, father, moved to Florida. So they live down near Orlando. So the only one here is my brother and my daughter and my nieces. My brother, I don't see a whole lot because he lives in a town, one town over. So, in fact, he ended up going pheasant hunting for Christmas. So it's last year felt incredibly lonely. This year felt phenomenal. You know, I a little anxiety, but I got to spend time with Allie. I got to spend time with Allie's family. We went for Thanksgiving. We went over to her sister's house, sister and brother-in-law's house, and had a great time. In fact, we're going over there tonight to play some board games. And then on Christmas, we spent at her mom's, and then her house. Just went and spent the night up at her house with her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend. It was great. It was really relaxing. It was really peaceful. It felt like. mm, Here's what the breakdown is, and here's where the point that I'm getting at. Last year, I was about 8 or 9 months out of a divorce when Christmas hit. So when Christmas hit, it did not feel like Christmas. It felt incredibly lonely. All of the traditions that I had built and created over the last 10 years were gone. My daughter, the stepdaughter, she was telling me about the things that they were doing for Christmas, and I'm glad that she got to do them. But it kind of hurt a little bit that I didn't get to be involved in it, and I had been for 10 years. So it's just a very stark difference between when you're in that relationship and then suddenly you're out of it and you're trying to manage or trying to approach the holidays alone can feel incredibly lonely. So last year I didn't even do Christmas. I put up a tree for my daughter. um, I did Thanksgiving over my brother's, and I skipped Christmas and skipped New Year's. I didn't do anything. Which, if that was you, hey man, if that's what you got to do to get through the time, do it. This year was a lot better, but coming out of Christmas last year and entering into January, let's go over and jump on the chat. We've got a couple people. If you guys are joining us, grounding practices, meditation, anything to keep me right here, right present. I spent the majority of my life as a child and even as an adult dissociated. When you're a young child and you're getting the shit kicked out of you by your dad on a regular basis, it's a lot easier to pretend you're somewhere else or just let your mind go somewhere else. It was very rarely was ever present. And up until probably about a year and a half ago, I found presence challenging, very challenging. And it's unfortunate. I moved into this house about a year ago. I live in a beautiful home. I'm sitting in my living room right now. I've got Dustin here with me, which is very, very grounding. I live in a very nice home with all my everything in this place is me. It's decorated by me, it's put together by me. This is my safe place and incredibly safe, right? So being dissociated from this would be terrible. Why would you want to dissociate from such a peaceful, safe place? So through those grounding techniques, putting your feet on the floor, putting your hands in your lap, breathing and breathing and feeling the air into your lungs, feeling your chest expand. feeling the breath going across the bottom lip as you exhale. What's up, buddy? He's a good boy. All of these things help bring you presence. Anytime you can feel with your body, hear with your ears, smell with your nose, or see with your eyes, you're bringing yourself present. You're using that prefrontal cortex. When I look at my Led Zeppelin poster or my Metallica poster, and I look at the color blue, and then Ruby sitting to the left of it, my guitar, and how the light shines off of the red pick guard and the red hardware. How the Gibson is got that little ring of light that goes along the left side, but not the right side because the light's coming in from the left. Paying attention to these types of things are what brings you present. It brings you into the current moment. And that the more you do, Dustin, Dustin is wanting some attention. The more time you spend there, the easier it is to stay there. The more time you spend dissociated, the easier it is to stay dissociated. It's all muscle memory, but there's this muscle up here. The idea is pick 5 things in the room that you can see. So I can see my neon lights on the wall, my posters, my guitars. I see my books on the bookcase, the stack of firewood, and my DTP studio sign on the wall. And then pick 4 things you can hear. I can hear my dog breathing. I hear my own breathing. I can hear the furnace and the air coming out of the vent. And I can hear some noises coming from outside, right? So then just pick like 2 things you can smell. I can actually smell my dog. I can smell my dog and I can smell the air freshener. So these are ways to bring yourself into the current moment and connect with the current moment. And you can do this at any point. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it while you're sitting in your living room. You can do it while you're working. Take a moment, stop, bring yourself present. These are all good practices. Grounding. If you can get outside, obviously it's 4 degrees in Colorado Springs outside today. It's very, very cold. So I will not be doing any outside grounding today, but getting outside and getting your feet on the ground, touching the ground with your feet, walking through the grass, walking through sand on the beach or whatever it is, but connecting your body to the ground. That's a big one. That's a really big one. We spend a lot of time with our feet not touching the ground. It's pretty incredible. Temperature. Temperature is a really, really good one for grounding. For grounding and prep. You're gonna fall off the couch, dude. Look at this dog. There he goes. You're okay, buddy. You have more cold temperature receptors in your face than anywhere else in your body. So simply going over and splashing some cold water on your face can instantly bring you present. Instantly bring you to the present moment. If you find yourself in a panic attack where hey, you okay, buddy? Okay. If you find yourself having a panic attack or having anxiety or having a trauma response that you can't get yourself out of, try splashing some cold water on your face. It's a good way to instantly bring yourself to the present moment. All of these things are obviously tools and techniques. None of them are going to be the single thing that saves you or changes you or helps you heal. But they're all tools in a toolbox that you can use and pull out the right tool at the right time. It may take 2 or 3 tools to help you get yourself back here, back calm, back peaceful, back safe. The ultimate goal is learning what safety feels like. This is what safety feels like. Calm, quiet, peaceful, safe. Have a wonderful new year, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.